And we also have Sibghatullah Ahmad, who is the Country Manager for Handicap International Federation, Humanity and Inclusion in Bangladesh, where he leads the organization's strategic operations and programs focused on disability rights and inclusive humanitarian action. With over 18 years of experience in the international development sector, he has successfully managed large-scale projects in emergency and developmental contexts in Asia through building local partnerships and expanding programmatic reach in conflict and disaster-affected areas. Thank you so much for being here for this conversation, Sibghatullah. A round of applause for him. Alright, I know that we've already discussed what we mean by inclusive safeguarding, but I do want to invite Khalida here to tell us a little bit more about what do we mean, of course, by safeguarding, but why are we now talking about inclusive safeguarding? So if you can tell us a little bit about the meaning of inclusive safeguarding and why it's important to take an intersectional lens to safeguarding, over to you.
Thank you so much. So while we speak about the safeguarding generally refers to the measures that organizations take to protect the people those are serving or their staff from any type of harm that may be caused by the program interventions or from the team, which includes staff or the contractors or the volunteers that they cause any type of the harms. So this is the standard definition, and the measures under this are also standard, and we are following certain international guidelines and tools. While we discuss the inclusive safeguarding, is going beyond the standard measure of the safeguarding and in considering the vulnerabilities of the different, like vulnerable group of the communities or even within the staff. For example, while assessing the safeguarding risk, we have the tools that can cater the vulnerabilities of the children, for example, women, older people, people with disabilities, with the different sexual and gender orientations, also the faith minorities and different type of, for example, the socio-economic classes. So this, the inclusive safeguarding refers to bringing focus to the vulnerable population while planning or assessing or delivering the safeguarding related measures. If we speak about the intersectionality, as we all know, that speak about the different type of the vulnerabilities that's caused by a person's identities or the background. For example, someone is a woman and from the rural area, she's from the low socio-economic class and also disabled. The other side, we have a woman who's from the middle socio-economic class, and she's from the minority faith or minority community, but she is not disabled. So we have to keep in mind that the different identities, how they compound the risk and how they aid to the vulnerabilities or increase sort of like multifaceted vulnerabilities for the different type of the people. Currently, the aid system is, as mentioned by Elon, from last few years has evolved a lot. Aid delivery, for example, has more like focus on the capacity building around safeguarding. SIA, we have more tools. However, there is a further need to bring in the inclusive safeguarding and intersectionality lens while, for example, assessing the risk or planning, even from the policy development level. If the organizations are developing policies, there is a need to keep in mind the specific vulnerabilities. For example, if we speak about the inclusive safeguarding, we say disability, but the disability itself has a different type of disability. A lot of disabilities are not visible, like the mental disabilities. So our systems, our tools, our policies may cater and consider those all, may be part of the communities or our staff while planning or delivering or implementing the safeguarding measures. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Khalida. I think you spoke about the importance of intersectionality and why inclusive safeguarding is so important. Lashari ji, maybe you want to tell us a little bit also about inclusive safeguarding from your experience.
Thank you, ma'am. As Khalida mentioned, inclusive only not for the people with disabilities, but for others like the transgender communities, their women and children. So that our organization is also working on safeguarding, and that we have one of the example of intersectionality. That we have in Pakistan one we have a the network that is run by the Handicap International and UNHCR, that is ADTF, Age Disability Diversity Task Force. We're not talking about only the disability but the diversity as well. So that is supported by UNHCR, HI, and we have the STAR network, and we have a government body, that is DPD, Government of Sindh, and we have Ready Pakistan, NHN. They support us well. That we have catered the needs of those people. We are saying that every segment is dignified. They need the respect. Do no harm policies is there, because especially the people with disabilities, they face a lot of discrimination with the nomenclature. In our local language, we do not call the person with the name of the person, but the name of the disability. So these are this is kind of exploiting, and you can say this is the neglecting. One of example of I would share here, in our district Matiari, we are working district Matiari, Sindh province of Pakistan. There was a Khadija Nusrat Mehman. She was with physical disability. She was a private school teacher, but head teacher. But we have the government have the 5% job quota in Sindh government. But she was given the government job PS2, and she was hired as a peon. She was a head teacher, but then in college she joined as a peon. There was no dignity, but the teachers, female teachers were there. Female teachers, it was girls' college. The teachers were there. They exploited her in the name of disability, in the shape of that you are low grade. They exploited a lot, and she was much disappointed, and she lost her life. She committed suicide in a river, Indus River. So this is the live example, and we at the platform of National Disability and Development Forum, we have another network. We are working on the body shaming as well. That is CIP, Coalition for Inclusive Pakistan, TD Islamabad, and with the government of Sindh, DPD department, we raised the voice, and the government of Sindh took the notice, and all the teachers were arrested, those who were engaged, and the FIR was registered against, because we have the law on disability in Sindh province is there. The safeguarding is one of the component of law, that is Sindh Empowerment of Person with Disability Act 2018. According to that law, the FIR was registered, and all the culprits were given in behind the bars. But the parents were very poor, and they could not pursue the case, and they withdraw the case. But it was set an example in our Sindh province. If there is a body shaming or any issue of the exploiting, safeguarding, that someone can be engaged in the behind the bars. And we are working for the transgender community as well. If they are they are harassed by someone, there should be the law against that safeguarding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lashari, for these important points about how there is stigma, there are biases, and how they can really get multiplied when we're talking about marginalizations, when we're talking about intersectionality as well. Do you want to also speak about a few more challenges or barriers in inclusive safeguarding that we should all keep an eye out for?
Okay. The people with disabilities have a lot of issues in the accessibility. If we have any kind of exploitation is there, but we do not have the complaint mechanism. If there is, but it is not accessible, you will not find the accessibility at there, because not accessibility in the shape of the ramp should be there, but the accessibility of sign language the other communications gaps are there, they should be also catered. Though the people with disability, but especially the children with intellectual disability, Down syndrome, autism, ADHD, dyslexia, these children are at risk of this exploitation because totally they are dependent. The dependency leads to the exploitation. So we will give some recommendation then after your question. But I think there should be the mechanism should be accessible, and our community has no awareness about safeguarding as well. Safeguarding is I think is a new topic for our development sector. Maybe it's an old one, but I don't think that our organization are implementing this safeguarding policies. We have developed our policies with the RSHs, but we will inshallah implement these policies in our setting. So something is there. I have noted that limited awareness I have shared with you, and exclusion in policy and program. Whenever we are making the policies for the people with disabilities, you will not find there is no participation of people with disabilities. Whenever you are going to offer the services, you are planning something, but I think nothing is without us. If you are not going to engage us in the formation of the policies, I think these policies will not support us. And the safeguarding policy, if we have now existing, but you will not find as an inclusive policy. There should be. They should all be respected and should be in the given. They should be put in the inclusive policies for the safeguarding, and all policies should be the free of biases. So another is that the empowerment and participation, that people with disabilities and the other groups should be given the should be included in the decision making. We talk about them. We have a lot of policies are there, but not in place in our actions. In our actions and practice, all the policies should be there, and we should include in the decision making. And we also, if we are talking about the inclusive safeguarding or inclusive approaches in the development sector, then it is our responsibility, prime responsibility, to engage organization of persons with disabilities in the implementation phase, in the planning phase and implementation phase. We do not need only the policies, but in the practices. If these organizations will be engaged, their capacity will be built, their capacity will be shared, and mutually we can bring these organizations in the mainstream area, because without these organizations we cannot claim that we are going to the inclusion. The cultural sensitivity as well as there, the minority, many countries have the Muslims are in the minority, and the many countries and other Christian communities a minority, Hindu communities a minority, minorities living in every country, but they should not be given, they should also be avoided from the discrimination in the case of jobs, in case of hijab. You know, the parda hijab is there for Muslim community. Sikh community has the beards, and these things should not be there discriminated in the name of the religion as well. And the proactive protection, we should be there. We should identify the risk that harm should not be occur. So we have to identify the risk before, and then I think it will be better for us to address the emerging challenges and threats. And there is also slogan that no one left behind, so that do not be disappointed. You have to take them into mainstream society. The organizations are there, but the many trainings are there on capacity building and the reading books and policies. So no one has the capacity to sustain or to bear this kind of the policy matters. The organization have maybe a low capacity, but you have to make it easy. With some of tools you can apply, not all the policies are there should be, but we have to start from the zero, then I think you will find the results. Thank you.
Organizations that have been extremely instrumental in putting this conversation together. So if you want to know more about any of us, please do find us on our relevant websites. And I also want to say that we will be here for another 10 to 15 minutes. If any of you want to hang around, speak to us, or even outside of the room, please feel free to. But thank you so much for being such a fantastic audience. And I really, really hope that we're all able to take back important learnings from here back home. Thank you so much, and thank you once again.